Wait, so how old were you when you just like became a legend? Like when you passed 1700?
Um, that was maybe when I was about not 8 or 9, and then really the
God
watershed
damn.
moment was World Youth Under 12. When I won the World Youth Under 12, I realized that I gotta keep doing this, whether I like it or not. This is the only thing I'm capable of doing well, and quite
Hey,
possibly will remain so
really
for the rest
fucking
of my
well.
life.
Hey, what's up, Daniel?
It's so great
Doing
to
good?
talk to you after so many years.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I'm so sorry for the wait also.
No problem at all. Absolutely not. I was experiencing my own technical difficulties.
Hey, let's go. Great minds think alike.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow, it's such a small world. I can't believe it.
Dude, when like I don't know, like a month ago or whatever, when I was like, oh yeah, I know Daniel Naroditsky in chat. Were you like, who the fuck is it? Like, what is he talking about? Or were you like, because I know you said you didn't like exactly remember, but was it like a
When
were
I
you
looked,
skeptical at first?
no, I mean I looked up the tournament standings and I was like, oh shit, like Joda Esfahani is like in this tournament, and that's when I had a sort of a brief recollection. I don't remember a lot about that tournament. The only thing I
Yeah.
remember is playing this guy Atsuya. I That's literally the only thing I remember. He
Oh
like
shit, the guy that beat me.
Yes, I remember playing him, and I remember a couple of moves from that game. Just like he blundered something, and I remember my last round opponent in that tournament offered me or asked for a take back, and I remember like delivering this speech to him about how I would love to give him a take back, but it's a rated game. But that's basically all I remember, and it's just insane,
Wait, did you
honestly.
tell him it while you were playing?
Yeah, yeah. I remember like whispering to the guy, like I would love to give you. I'm so
Damn.
sorry, but I can't
That's a
do
lot of
that.
maturity for like a 7 or 8 year old. How old were you?
I was let's see, that was I was probably at 7, almost 8.
Yeah, I remember that.
I
And
was
your brother was playing too, right?
My brother at that point was playing, but he wasn't playing that very tournament. So my brother and
Okay.
I were my brother's 4 years older than me. We were both 1700 at the same time, and that's approximately when I sort of shut up and he got. He was already in high school, so it was much harder for him to keep going. But he hit 2100 eventually.
Oh, that's
So,
pretty good. My mom always wanted me to be like a great chess player, right? But I
hmm
was like so bad about like actually trying to improve and like study and stuff. I would just like play in tournaments, like take like summer camps sometimes, and then like I never really put like the time or the energy effort. And I just wanted to play like games and shit. And
hmm
then I just dude literally like she always brought your name. She's like, you could be like Daniel, man. Like, look, he's like chess champion, and you're just there like playing Pokemon. Like, you could get there too one day, Jordan. Like, you gotta just work on it. Like, remember like that kid you guys were sitting next to each other. Like, and now look at him, and now look at you. And then I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get better. Like, I just want to play games and shit. But no, it's just so like crazy.
I
Like
appreciate
even
that.
all these years
I'm
back.
blushing, but little if she saw me
My mom is one of your biggest fans. I'll say that.
I appreciate that. Means a lot to me. Well, if she saw
no,
me now, maybe she would retract that statement.
no. Just all respect.
That's amazing. Thanks, Coker, for the sub. Yeah, that's absolutely, and I'm so happy you're back in chess, and you've lost none of your strength. I think I was very, very impressed, honestly, and I'm a hard person
Hey,
to
thanks,
impress.
man.
So I'm glad to be to do a very small part to help you get even better and progress through PogChamps. So
Yo,
basically,
I would really appreciate it,
it's
man.
the start of the winners bracket tomorrow, right? Where you're
Yep.
playing Yasuo.
Yeah, I'm playing Mo first round.
And there's 2 games now, 2 game mini match.
Yeah, 2 games, and then I think if we draw, it's like a 3 minute game or something.
It's sort of a playoff. I gotcha. So I was thinking, I mean, we talked a little bit beforehand, of course, and we can put an emphasis on openings, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess if there's anything else that's sort of in the whole realm of the game that you struggle with or that you fear that you don't like, even if we're doing, let's say, openings, I can still try to put an emphasis on explaining things in a certain way to
Mm-hmm.
help you in other areas of the game. So I'm going to try to like combine stuff. But is there anything that comes to mind in terms of stuff that you feel less comfortable with? And I know you told me, but maybe you can expand a little bit more so I have a a better sense of sort of what to emphasize.
Yeah, I guess like I'll play out some openings. Like I think if I'm in an okay position, I feel like a lot of times, at least when I'm playing people at my level, like I can navigate it decently well. But I think I struggle sometimes, like conceptualizing what my plan for the game should be and like how to get there, especially when it comes to like, because like pawn moves are critical for that, right? And I think I struggle sometimes, like like having the confidence to be like, okay, so I need to break open the position here, and I need to like set this pawn break up here, and I need to like just make sure it's reinforced and then go for it. And then sometimes like I'll do it and it's like correct, and I'll analyze the game after. It's like, oh yeah, good job. But then sometimes I get it wrong, and I'm just like, oh shit, like that was dumb, or like I was focusing on like the wrong area, or I was trying to like do like multiple things or something like that. I don't know. I think I'm okay at like just like playing out the game, but I would like to be more methodical than that kind of, and like really understand what I'm doing in like every game that I play better. And then like I think that will help me like shore up a lot of like my weaknesses, because like I think I'm pretty good with like finding the right like tactics. I think I'm decent at like end game from what I've seen compared to like the people I play against. But I think sometimes I'll just get into like a bind in the middle of the game, and I don't know. I might be wrong about like I might be wrong, but this is just like my
no. Only
estimation.
you sort of know yourself. You know yourself the best. So everything that you tell me is very valuable. So sort of you feel a little bit more comfortable in like sort of short-term tactics, but it's more the long-term planning, understanding what to do, perhaps in undefined positions, pawn structures, pawn breaks, stuff like that.
Yep,
I can try to emphasize that. Yeah, and you're at that stage where we can talk about a lot of things at once. It's not, if I'm teaching someone who's like 800, 900, I have to isolate things one by one. Okay, right now I'm going to talk specifically about the role of, how to see a fork in this position. But with you, I can sort of give you the bigger picture and explain stuff more holistically, so to speak. So I'm definitely going to try to do that.
Okay, sounds good. And I'll let you know if I'm confused, or I'll try to ask questions and stuff too.
Definitely. And in terms of openings, is there something you prefer to start with? I mean, I can walk you through something that you wanted to learn. What sort of is your top priority in that regard? White or black? And then sort of I'm completely at your disposal in terms of teaching you some opening or reinforcing an opening you already know. We can basically talk about anything. And I'm sure our conversation will naturally flow into various areas.
Yeah, we could try walking through like an opening or two and just help me understand stuff better. So if you think that's good.
I think that's great. So I guess the question is, from the white side, or from the black side, you wanted to learn. So against 1e4, you said, do you play the Sicilian? What is your main opening? So that's the Sicilian.
Yeah, I think I typically go for the Sicilian.
And how do you feel in the Sicilian? Do you feel more comfortable than against d4, or less comfortable than against 1d4?
I'm not. I don't mind too much either, but I do like the Sicilian. I like playing like, at least, I think I like playing the accelerated dragon. Feels pretty good most games. But I also know I mess up when I'm playing it in like optimally figuring out the plan and like making the best moves and stuff too.
Do you want to start with a quick rundown? Let me give you 3 options. We can start with a quick rundown of the accelerated dragon, sort of shore up all the maybe holes that you have. I can sort of walk you through the London system. I know you kind of wanted to look at that from the white side. Or I can introduce you to an opening against 1d4, such as the King's Indian.
Okay, so I think those all sound pretty good. We can start with whatever you want. Like I'm down for any of them.
Okay, well, let's start with the Sicilian with black, because until you reach 2000, 1e4 is going to be by a country mile the most common move you face. So it makes sense to invest. Your biggest asset with the black pieces is going to be knowledge, especially because you play the Sicilian, which is uncommon at your level. Most people play e5. It makes sense to know it really, really well. And the accelerated is a great opening. I've taught it to some students. I don't know it necessarily at a GM level, but I think I know it enough to guide you through some of the hoops. So
Okay.
let me invite you to an analysis board. Okay, just invited
Hey,
you.
I see it.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Good
Hey,
play,
I like your pick.
Thank you. That was from 2007, actually. I never bothered to. That just tells you how lazy of a person I am. I've never changed
Same, bro. Same.
it. Way too much work. So,
True.
basically, you can face the black side, and I will face the black side as well. Do you see my
Okay.
moves?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so the one thing that glitches often is when you make moves. Sometimes I don't see them, but I'll be
Wait, I
monitoring.
just realized something. You told me to click on the 1, 2, 3. I like that subtle flex, bro. Rank 1 in the world.
Damn, what did I
Hey.
do? What did I do?
Wait, so does that-
Unintentional. Cut.
Wait, so are you the highest rated Blitz player?
Right now
Or
on
how
the
does it
side
work?
I am, but I'm not overall. Like Hikaru's higher rated than me. I think globally on chess.com I may be number 4 or 5 right now,
So crazy.
but I
That's so
fluctuate
cool.
all the time.
All right. What a beast.
Thanks. I mean, there's Blitz players a lot stronger than me, so
Chat, I'm getting coached by one of the literally the best players in the world, and after this lesson, I'm still gonna be. No, I'm just kidding.
You're gonna be better
I
than-
feel like I'm gonna improve. I actually feel like I'm not gonna get my hopes up, but I feel like I'm actually gonna improve so much. But let's.
I'm
you
a
can
terrible
continue.
coach. Don't get your hopes up. I will actually make you worse. I'll try to make you worse.
No.
We'll see if I succeed.
God. All
So,
right, let's
okay.
do it.
So, in your games, I would imagine. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to do this professionally. So, you play the Accelerated Dragon exclusively against D4, correct?
Is that bad?
No, that's great. But that's a question.
Okay.
Do you play it
I think
exclusively,
so.
or do you experiment with stuff?
I think I try to play it most often. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. If you give me a second, I'm going to go into your game history, and
Oh, God.
I'm going to download your last 300 or 400 games.
Oh God.
And
Okay.
I will check, but it's what I will do that for is to see how people respond against the accelerated most commonly, and so we're gonna put an emphasis on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sounds
Because that's sort of practical preparation. Because a lot of people in this position, they play Bishop C4. They don't play D4. That's the open Sicilian.
good. Yeah.
I don't know if that's your experience as well.
Bishop C4. Oh yeah, I've seen
That's-
that. I've seen that sometimes too. Yeah, but I think I'm more used to D4 and
Uh-huh.
then takes and then continue. Wait, how are you downloading a bunch of games?
So on chess.com, there's a feature where you can download batches of games, and then I'm basically transferring them. Basically transferring them to a program called ChessSpace. I don't know if you know what that is.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
And then what I'm doing is basically, all right, guys, people going wild in my chat. But basically, what I'm doing then is I'm downloading all of your games into one database, and there's a feature that allows you to check what your opponents play, and I'm doing that right now.
So then we can see what I'm typically faced with, rather than like what you're like. Oh yeah, this is like what a GM would play.
Exactly, because we can prepare the main lines, and a lot of people do that. They just blindly prepare the main lines. But that doesn't help if you never face them. So guys in my stream, I am sharing ChessSpace, so I'm showing you how I'm doing this. So prepare against black. Now let's see. So out of all of your black games, E4 69 games and D4 36 games. Okay, so E4, C5. 1 second. Now let's see. Knight F3 35 games. So by far most people play Knight F3, and then D4 15 games, Bishop C4 11 games. So Bishop C4 is close behind. Thank you, Human, for the bit. So I think we should actually start by looking at a system against Bishop C4, because a lot of people play like this.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's do that. And then we'll move on to D4. Okay. Now where the heck is my... Okay, there we go. So, Bishop C4. Now, why do people play this move so commonly? Because...
Oh, I thought you were
go ahead.
asking me.
No, I am.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
Well, it's just a natural continuation of like development. It's like, you know, the Italian game, so it's like very common to play it against anything, and then also I guess people at my level look for like pressure on the F7 square too.
Bingo.
So-
Yeah, that's exactly right. People play the Italian against the Sicilian. Now, that's not exactly how life works. You can't just play the Italian against anything. And the reason
Yeah.
it's not as good, and the move that I'm going to teach you is, and this is not an accelerated dragon type of move, but I just think it's the best move in the position. That's the move E6.
Yeah.
Which basically shows white that putting on the bishop on c4 is not as effective as it is in the Italian, because now the bishop is just staring at this pawn. So the placement of this bishop in the Sicilian is very much suboptimal. So does this move kind of make sense, e6?
Yep, makes sense for sure. I think what I've often found myself going like maybe g7 to start my my dragon chakra
So G6,
dance,
yeah.
and then
Chakra dance.
and then trying to like, and then sometimes people just go like knight g5 or something, and then I'll play like e6, and I'm like, okay, good job. I've
Yeah,
actually
you
had
can
that
do
happen a
that.
few times.
You can do that. And near knight g5, e6 is just good for black. He's going to lose a million temp because now you attack his
Yeah.
knight too. So if you prefer to keep the spirit of the accelerated, g6 is a good move as well.
Okay.
So let's see what people do against you. So g6, I see you've played 5 times. 2 people castled, and one person played d3, one person played knight g5, and one person played d4. Okay, so let's keep the spirit of the accelerated then. Let's look at g6. Now after he castles, bishop g7, c3, the only reason I was going to recommend the move e6, and you can decide, is because in this position there's a very annoying sideline that one guy played against you, where white goes c3.
Yeah.
And the point is just to control the center with the move t4. Now, as I'll show you, e6 avoids any of this stuff because you immediately aim to control the center with d5. It's a very much sound
okay.
and
That makes
centrally
a lot of
oriented
sense.
concept.
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah, and you don't have to know a lot. You don't have to learn a lot. And I'm going to show you some cool ideas here. Now, most people are going to castle here. And the move that I really like in this position is the move knight to f6.
Okay.
Now, bringing the knight out, attacking the pawn. What comes to mind if you were playing white? What would be your first temptation here?
To develop your knight to c3 to protect the pawn.
Okay, so knight c3 is absolutely one of the moves we'll look at. Another move is e5 that some people will play.
Okay.
And here I'm going to show you, well, there's a cool move here, but I'm going to show you something simple that gets black a good position. Finally, some people might play rook to e1. Okay, defending the pawn this way. And let's start with the move rook e1 because this highlights a tactic that I want you to be aware of in these positions.
Okay.
Black can actually take on e4 with his knight.
Oh, and then d5.
Bingo. And you might be like, well, what have I gained from this trade? Well, you've eliminated white's bishop. You have the 2-bishop advantage. You have very nice development for your pieces. You can just tuck your queen away on d7. And could you tell me where this bishop on c8 might belong in the future? How will you develop it?
Probably fianchetto it.
Bingo.
b7.
That's exactly
eventually.
what you're going to do. And look at how harmonious your pieces are going to be. Let's say we fianchetto it immediately, which is possible. We go bishop b7 to x-ray the rook. This bishop goes to e7, then we castle. Do you see how harmonious, how much of a bind black has on white's position here?
Yeah, it's pretty juicy. I like it.
So this knight takes c4 is something that I just generally want you to be aware of, and that's why it's a better idea for white to go knight c3. You can still take on e4 here, but it's not as effective because white can keep his bishop. Now here, we play the move d5 according to plan.
Yep.
Controlling the center, attacking the bishop. Are you afraid of a check on e1? Absolutely not. How are you going to parry this check in the name?
Bishop c6.
So bishop e6 is not bad, but then you still have to develop this bishop on f8. So I would kill 2 birds with 1 stone by playing bishop e7.
Yeah.
So that you can then castle in the next move. Don't have to worry about anything on the e file. And here black has a terrific position. This bishop on c8, given an opportunity, can jump out to g4. You've got control of the center. If white plays d4 himself, how will you meet this move?
Let's see. So I wouldn't. Hold on. Oh, I would just go c4, attack the bishop. Bishop moves. Then could you?
And don't overthink it. Just continue your development as normal. White's,
And then bishop g4.
Exactly. White's been, dicking around
Yes!
on king's side. Nice. You develop your bishop to this square. Great thing about developing your bishop to g4, okay? Is that, first of all, you have this pin. People hate pins, even at my level. I hate pins.
Me too.
They're annoying. So another problem is if White says, well, I'm smarter than this VoyBoy genius. I mean, he calls himself a genius, but I'm a bigger genius. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take here. I'm going to double his pawns, and then I'm going to chase this bishop away from g4. First of all, you have two ways of dealing with this. You can move your bishop back. And
Sack the knight.
Yep. This is a very common tactic, which causes tremendous practical problems for White because he just can't get rid of his pin. And
I would do this randomly, and I would call it the Voy gambit, and I would sometimes win off of it, and sometimes I would just like, I would flag because I'm trying to like attack the king, and I just couldn't find checkmate.
Well, that's a common problem.
That's a little bit of lore for you.
That's interesting. So you're aware of this, and you actually like the sack. I love it. I mean, I love sacks in general.
Yeah, me too. It feels so badass.
I think we have similar styles. I mean, not unsurprisingly, because we both played in the same first tournament.
True. We were molded in the fires.
So are you? And you don't have. I don't mean to ask any personal questions, but are you from the Bay Area originally?
Yeah. I was born in Berkeley, and then.
Oh wow.
Actually, me and Hans, like, I was talking to him the other day, and we had hella. It was hella funny because he went to like the Berkeley chess school too, and I used to go there too as well. So,
wow. Well, I was born in San Mateo.
Oh shit! Yeah,
we were Foster City.
That's awesome, dude. That's so crazy.
That is crazy. What a small world. Yeah, I just moved to Charlotte 5 months ago. I was in the Bay Area my whole life.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
What brought you out? What brought you out to Charlotte?
Many things. Like I graduated in June, and first of all, obviously, I wanted to live alone, and if I lived alone in San Francisco, I'd have 18 roommates. And as you can imagine,
for like a 200 square foot apartment.
Right, and in Charlotte, there's something called the Charlotte Chess Center, which is founded and directed by one of my best friends. And I actually, pre-COVID, I moved here to work for the Chess Center and teach classes here, and also I obviously teach privately too. So it's a combination of things. I have a lot of friends here, chess friends here. So
that's awesome, dude.
And it's a little bit more affordable in Charlotte, to be honest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just a tad. But anyways, that's enough about me. My life is boring.
I was gonna say, already I feel like smarter. You're actually such a good teacher. So I already appreciate this.
I haven't done anything. You're a good student. So this sacrifice that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice every single time, but especially when you have this kind of eternal, as they call it in Russian, an eternal pin.
Oh shit! Yeah, that makes sense.
Which you can then reinforce by bringing your queen out to f6. So very common idea here. How would you go about doing that? I mean, the queen can't exactly jump over the bishop.
Maybe you go bishop b4, set up a new external pin, and then you bring the queen to f6.
So that's what I would call the mupwa, the most popular wrong answer. And also, I am, just to warn you, I'm of the Russian school of chess, which means I'm going to roast the hell out of you occasionally.
No, that's
you're
fine.
welcome to hate my guts.
No, I'm all for it, to be honest.
The way to think about this is every single piece on the board has to be fulfilling a rule.
Wait, I just had a paradigm shift. I as soon as you said it was the wrong answer, I was even second guessing it. I think I'm messing up because the whole point of the saga is to keep pressure on the king, right? So if I start diverting resources to like the queen side, like rook b8, like bishop b6, 4 and shit, I'm losing the plot, right? So I should keep targeting the king. So like something off the top of my head, like bishop d6 makes more sense. It keeps more pressure there, and it gives you room for the queen to come in.
Bingo! That's exactly what I was going to tell you. You took the words right out of my mouth. I don't know how dare you do that. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I just want to let you know that I realized what I did wrong.
Right. So your play has to be in concert. One move has to be in concert with the previous one. Bishop b4. Yes, it's a pin, but also it's not as effective of a pin because a pawn defends the pinned piece. When a pawn defends the pinned piece, by definition, the pin is less effective. Why? Because, well, in this case, the queen can't exactly move away from the pin. But if there was a pawn on g2,
Yeah.
the queen could potentially move away from the pin. That's why you sacrificed on g4 and then why this pin is so effective. So bishop d6,
Yep.
then
So it's
queen
like
f6,
wrestling. Like someone has to tag in for the queen before that knight could even move, basically.
such as the king, let's say, tags in with king g2, but your reinforcements arrive just in time. What move do you make now?
Oh. And then I go.
Don't let the queen escape from d1.
Yeah. Then I go queen f6.
Bingo. And again, white's in even bigger trouble here. Literally completely tied down. And some people
Oh my
struggle.
god, that's brutal.
But let's say that white just bides his time. I go, I don't know, rook g1. Just some random move. And basically asking you, well, how do you improve your position? This is where a lot of people struggle because they start looking for a knockout blow. And not in every position do you have like an immediate knockout blow. Sometimes you need to just accumulate the pressure very slowly and gradually. This is one of those cases. Could you name a way to do that?
Yeah, you could either try to bring a rook in to e8 from e8, or it seems a little hard to get it in there, but...
Hard,
oh, wait, what'd you say?
Hard as in slow, because you have all the time
like
in the world.
Yeah, true, because you have him locked down. That's true.
Bingo. So could you name a plan here? How do you bring this rook? You go rook e8.
Yeah, you go rook e8, then the only square you really have free is rook e6.
Okay. Good.
And then you could go queen f5.
Bingo.
To give space. And then rook h6.
Yeah,
or
rook h6,
I guess
that
rook
square
g6
is guarded.
is good too. Yeah, rook g6.
That's what you meant. You were testing.
Or okay. Yeah, exactly. I was keeping you on
But you
your
have an
toes,
immediate
too.
win here, actually. Do you see it?
Oh, yeah. Bishop takes f3, queen takes rook, and then rook g6.
Exactly. This is a classic transformation of the advantage. The pin has served its purpose. You end the pin and you win the queen. Good.
Let's go.
That's exactly right. So this plan takes what? 1, 2, 3, 3/4 moves. I teach some of my sort of higher rated students what I call the 3-move rule, which is that if an idea takes 3 moves or longer, it's usually unrealistic. But this is an exception because white is completely tied down. And a lot of people don't understand that chess can be a slow game. Not every idea is instant, and not every winning position requires you to find some sort of crushing blow. A lot of people waste a lot of time trying to find that, and then they find something that looks good but just relinquishes the pressure.
True. I have found myself in that pickle, definitely often, because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not like every position you're in your games is like a tactics puzzle where it's just like, oh shit, checkmate.
Bingo.
But,
That's what I try to convey to people. Like, when you solve a ton of tactics, you get a disproportionate view of chess. You're like, oh, every position has some sort of a tactic. Is that a grandmaster say? Tactic, boom, 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 boom. But
yeah.
tactics are like the frickin', I was going to make a weird analogy, but I decided to spare your and my audience from it. You know Ferrero Rocher candies?
Oh yeah, I love those
Me
things.
too.
They're so good.
So it's like tactics are like the nut at the center of the Ferrero Rocher candy. Like you have to eat all the chocolate first.
Gladly, bro. Give me all the Ferrero Rocher.
Exactly. Now I want to get them. But basically, the idea
They're pretty
here,
expensive though, huh?
They are, yeah, but they're
like
worth
premium.
it.
They're like premium. Yeah. They're
often
definitely
on
worth.
sale though. I mean, I haven't bought.
Yeah, last time
candy
I
all
bought
the
them,
time.
they were on sale. It was like $4 off for like a big ass thing of them, and I scooped it up.
You can't.
That was like a
miss
year
that.
ago though, so I need to look out for it again.
Yeah, I
Thanks
can't
for
have.
the-
I
thanks for the
can't
good
have.
looks.
I can't have one of those in my apartment. I will just eat it in one day.
Yeah.
Overdose.
Same. Same.
So basically, to return to this line d5, and thanks PBB with the sub 20 months. What else can white do here? White can go bishop b5, and now actually, what you should remember is that this move creates somewhat of a threat of going knight to e5. So is that something to be afraid of? Not really. You can go bishop b7, and if white goes knight e5. Again, it looks scary because white attacks c6, but you can simply reinforce the knight on c6 while attacking this knight on e5.
Oh.
So bishop d7 is fine, but you have an even
queen
better move.
d6.
Or even queen c7.
Oh yeah.
Either. But
That's you.
queen d6, I'm always afraid to put the queen in white's grill like this because, you know, the queen, as I say sometimes, is sort of the supporting actress. And the queen wants to be in the shadows so that it doesn't sort of stick, you know, it doesn't get in the way of, it's a long-range piece, so you don't need to put it close to something, really.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like she's an assassin.
Right, and that's a general guideline. That doesn't mean, again, everything I say to be taken with a grain of salt.
Sure.
Okay, so this is nothing to fear. And the last thing, and d3, you still go d5, same thing. Takes, bishop goes back, bishop b7, you castle, develop, you've got a nice center. This is a pretty intuitive position. Does that kind of make sense from sort of a general perspective, this type of position, how to play it?
What should I be ideally looking to do after I castle and stuff?
Yeah, so it depends on whether white allows bishop g4. If he does, you're looking to play bishop g4.
So white should be playing h3 ASAP, right?
In my opinion, yes. So h3 castles, I don't know, let's say knight c3. And now a good solid way of developing is to prepare the development of the bishop to e6. Now, if you develop to e6 immediately, I have an annoying move knight g5. So how would you prepare it?
Oh, wait, give me 1 second.
Sure. Take your time.
All right,
Okay.
let's go. Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay, so essentially, you want to develop your bishop here. But the problem is, white has this annoying pesky move, knight g5. So how would you pave the way for the development of this bishop?
Maybe h6.
Bingo. h6 is always a safe move here. And then you develop your bishop to e6. And I'm going to give you a couple of guidelines here. I'm going to give you two different plans in this position. One is to play on the queen side. And you already have 2 pawns. So what you would ideally like to do is place a third pawn on b5, which would serve 2 purposes. The first is you might trap the bishop with c4.
Yep.
The second is what's known as...
Catch him sleeping on the job.
Exactly. And you also just pressuring the queen side. Maybe you'll push the pawn to b4, and then you push the a pawn. I don't know. It depends on what white does. How would you go about preparing this move b5? This is actually a bit of a tricky question, because if white develops, let's say, his bishop to f4, you can't go rook b8. So what would you do to prepare that move?
Maybe a6?
Yeah, a6 is great. And you might say, well, what does this accomplish? White just goes a4 to stop that move. But a4 is actually a very serious positional concession because it deprives the bishop of this potential square. So a move like c4, I'm not saying to play it immediately, but it will bury the bishop on a2, which is, again, a very serious positional concession. And in addition, it's creating this weakness on the b4 square, onto which you can later plant a knight, potentially.
Yep.
So how would I go about playing this position? I would just improve the position of my rooks and slowly prepare the move c4. So I would go rook e8, rook c8, and then I would prepare the move c4. Whenever you're ready, you play this move and bury this bishop. And then this queen could come out to b6, attacking this pawn, pressuring f2, etc., etc. So this is what I would call the piece play positional strategy in this idea, in this position.
Got you.
The alternate plan here is very aggressive. It's maybe a little bit more unsound, but it's also potentially rewarding, and that is to prepare a sacrifice on the h3 pawn.
Let's go. Now you're talking
Exactly.
now you're speaking my language.
Say that. So there's a caveat here. You know, there's an asterisk. Limited, whatever, promote shipping charges apply. It's not as simple as it appears. So basically what you would do here is you would play the move queen d7.
Yeah,
I would start regardless of trying to play b5, and I would induce this.
Yeah.
Just so
force his hand.
Yeah, just so white can't pin you potentially with the bishop.
And if he doesn't play
a4,
a4, then we go through with the b5.
Yeah. So for example, I mean, what would you do here with white? Like, what comes to mind?
possibly queen d2 and
Sure.
think about sacking or taking on h6 maybe.
So let's say you were scared from the black side of him taking on h6. How could you prevent this from happening, even if it's not necessarily objectively that good, which it's not? But
Maybe queen h7. I mean king h7.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was looking for. This is a
Nice.
GM level move, king h7.
Hey!
Get out! Like, get out. No.
Let's go!
Exactly. I'm happy you said it as quickly as you did, because it's not intuitive to move your king like this, but the king is actually a great defender.
Yeah, he's an extra piece.
Exactly.
Some people and myself got to think about it like that.
Yeah,
too.
the king, gotta respect the king. Now, I'm not saying bring it out to freaking f5.
Yeah, start like trying to throw out checks with the king.
Right, exactly. Like, the king is cool, it's not that cool, but it can fulfill these menial defensive roles. Thank you, Charlotte Chess Center, for the 5 gifted subs. Dang. Welcome, Peter.
Let's go, Charlotte Chess Center. Thanks for employing my boy Daniel.
Yeah, that's my good friend, Peter Giannatos. I'm going to give him a shout out. I'll talk more about that a
Peter
little bit later.
Giannatos, let's go.
Yeah, he's I give him a lot of crap, but he's great. So that's the last nice thing we say about him. Okay, so basically, okay, let's say white goes rook 81 and you go b5. So
Yep.
do you see what the threat is? If white
Yep.
plays an empty move, what do you do?
Oh, for black?
Yeah, so let's say I go king h1 here. What do you do here?
Just c4.
Bingo. DC?
And then yeah, then you take dc again.
Very important not to take BC, because then the bishop has
Yeah.
an extra square. Easy stuff. Bishop is trapped. White can trade down the d file, but it's just empty noise, because eventually the bishop's going to get trapped.
Yeah, then you lose the piece.
Hey, JW.
Yeah, I find a lot of
exactly.
people do that when I found a good play. They like throw out a random check or something like that. But then I'm just sitting there smirking like, I don't know, I got you, you son of a bitch.
Exactly.
You can't stall your way out of this one.
Atsuya would fall prey to this for sure. This is what I should have taught you all those years ago. C4, the C4 plan.
Dude, I was undefeated until I played. I won 3 games in a row somehow, and I wasn't even good. And then I lost to that kid,
Frickin'
and then I just got
Atsuya.
tilted.
Dang.
He's my kryptonite.
Unbelievable. We gotta find him. Gotta tell him something. We gotta bring him on the stream.
Hey, let's go.
So if white creates a square for his bishop, now with all of this done, we switch gears and play queen d7, potentially preparing another 10 subs from Peter. Jesus. Thank you, Peter, for
Hey,
the subs.
let's go.
Charlotte Chess Center on a rampage. I just want to hear him say my name against this Charlotte Chess Center. Well, thanks, Peter. Appreciate
Charlotte Chess Center.
it. That's right. One of a kind. Anyways, so
True.
thanks again. So you're preparing the sacrifice.
Some would say the best chess center in the world.
Absolutely. It's unmatched, and I'm not even biased. It's unmatched.
I mean, they got you there, so I mean, I believe it.
Exactly. Well, it was the best before I came. I brought it down, brought the level
Oh yeah,
down.
true.
You're supposed to roast me, Jordan. Stop being nice to me.
No, I agreed with your own roast. That's good enough.
So basically, I'm going to make a couple empty moves for the sake of explanation. You would bring your rook to e8, and at some point you would...
Wait. Sorry to keep distracting you. I would roast you, but I think my mom would get mad at me.
I see.
She's like, "Why did you say that about Daniel? Show him some respect, Jodat."
Exactly.
I was like, just a joke.
I forgive you then. That explains it. Okay, you're off the probation.
Thank God.
So basically, the rationale behind this sacrifice is pretty self-explanatory. You're exposing the king, queen's attacking the knight. The reason I'm not in love with an idea like this is because, again, the queen is not necessarily as effective as it might appear when it attacks alone. It needs forces, and especially the best partner for a queen is the knight. The knight-queen tandem, one of the strongest in chess.
Oh shit. Okay.
So, for example, let's say I block this attack with a move bishop to g3. Could you devise a strategy? And this is a little bit five-head, but first of all, do you see this bishop on b3?
Yep.
Get it the hell out of the picture. Before you do anything, get it out of the picture. What move would you make?
C4.
Bingo. C4. So
lock it out.
takes, lock the bishop out, then decide what to do. This is called playing on two flanks. And now you actually have an amazing move that basically wins the game. And this move creates a threat and it involves another piece in the attack, but it doesn't do so directly. That's why it's kind of hard to find, but I want to give you a chance.
Okay, let me think. So I'm thinking my first instinct is rook d8, and my second instinct would be knight g4.
Okay, so knight g4 is tempting because it creates this.
But the problem with the bishop still ruins it. The reason I'm thinking rook d8 is because I could displace that g7 that g2 or sorry g3 bishop eventually too with this move as like a setup maybe.
Okay, so let's say I move my queen to f4 for example. Did you have a follow-up in mind?
And then you could go knight h5.
Good thinking. The problem is very concrete. I'm gonna pick off your other knight here.
Oh yeah.
But you're thinking in the right direction. I'm gonna give you a hint.
So maybe it's just knight h5 in the first place.
Yeah, so that's probably the second best move, and it would be winning because you're threatening to capture the knight on g3 with devastating consequences. But because the board is so open, white has a very, very annoying resource here, and that's the move queen to d7. Now, that's not something I would necessarily... So conceptually, your move is excellent. Don't get me wrong here. Conceptually, your move is exactly right. It's just a freak kind of defense. And now you either have to trade queens, which is disastrous, or give up the c6 knight, which is... The position still remains complicated because you could pick off the bishop. But in reality, the best move is bishop c5.
Oh, yeah.
And what threat
cool.
does this... What does this create? What threat does this
Because then you can
create?
take the bishop on g2 because it's pinned. The
Bingo.
pawn's pinned.
And the king can't move, so white can't even really stop it. He can try to defend the bishop with queen f4, and this is where knight h5 comes to the fore. Because now, again, you're reinforcing this threat.
Yeah, that's poggers, and then the check's not there anymore.
Bingo. So the queen on h3 guards this square, rook guards this square. Notice how every single piece on the board fulfills some sort of... sometimes auxiliary, or primary role. Rooks, this rook guards this pawn, this knight, just sitting there ready to come to d4. That's sort of the ideal image of middle game chess, is every piece on the board fulfills some sort of duty or role, and you can name it very clearly.
Yep.
So if the queen goes away to c7, then you can either take with the queen on g3 and trade queens and get a favorable endgame up 2 pawns, or you can take with a knight and checkmate him, which would be perhaps preferable. I don't know. But I think
that's forced, right?
Yeah, I don't think white can stop a million threats here. Let's say white goes knight h2. Just some practice in finishing me off. Could you finish me off in this position? And you're welcome to make moves, however you want to do it. You can tell me the moves, you can make moves.
Okay. Oh, I can move the pieces?
Yeah, I think you can. I should be able to see it, but it sometimes glitches. You can try.
Okay, let me think here. So, what if I go boom?
Okay, that's an excellent first move. Yep, driving my king out.
And now I hit you with the...
Yeah, you have a very good check, but it's
and
not
now
necessarily intuitive.
And now I hit you with the... Hold on, I almost have it.
Take your time, as long as you need. I mean, I never would rush you. It's a little distraction tactic, as a bit of a hint, but not much of it.
Okay.
I think it's what it's called, distraction tactic.
I almost got it.
No problem. I've spent over an hour thinking about one move before, so...
Thought about... Wait.
Oh, you see my arrows? Oh my god, I gave it away. Sorry. That was
okay. So what I was trying to think about, what if I take the rook and then I check on d4, and then when the king moves, then I have the discovered attack on the queen possibly.
Perfect.
Or
That's
like
as good as what I was gonna suggest.
that. So that was right.
Yes. Yep. That's one of the
Shit!
two
I
ways.
was literally, I swear to, I know it seems sketch, but I was literally trying to like calculate it out before like you started drawing on it.
It doesn't seem
I was
sketch at
trying to-
all. I'm sorry I did because I forgot you also see my arrows.
Oh no, it's okay. But I know chat's gonna be like, "Oh, Void just like saw the answer."
No,
Like,
no.
Stop capping. But no, I really was trying to figure it out. I was like, okay, so when the king moves, then I'm pretty sure I can get like I think because right now the problem is that your king's not on a square where my knight can check you. But if I can just displace you,
Yeah,
then
which you
I
can.
think yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, and I'm sorry to do the error. So basically, what you're saying is, as soon as the king moves on a checkable square, you leave with
Exactly.
a knight and
Yeah,
with my
yeah.
queen. And here's what I love about that approach: the reason a lot of people struggle when they're attacking is because they only look for checkmate, and they get fixated.
Yep.
I want to checkmate. My opponent, the king is out in the open. I need to checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. And you don't find checkmate, you start panicking, you lose on time. But what you're doing is that you're trying to find ways to transform your advantage. You're using the open position of the king to find a way to win the queen, which wins the game just as effectively as delivering checkmate. And that's something you should
exactly.
always keep in mind. Is there a way to transform my attack into a material advantage?
Yep, makes sense. I just need a winning position after all.
Right.
I don't have to win the game right there and then.
You could also, by the way, check on d4. That's what I meant with the distraction tactic. Rook has to take, and now you take the rook on e1.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
if the queen takes the knight as a small tactical warm-up...
Oh,
practice-
rook e3.
Bingo. Another distraction tactic wins the
Let's
queen.
go.
Exactly. So multiple ways of winning. You found both of them. Good job. So that I'm confident in your attacking skills once you get this type of position. So
Thank
you
you,
can
thank
see
you.
what the idea is of sacking on h3. It's very speculative. So if white defends well, he might emerge up a piece for 2 pawns. It's not like you're giving up the full house. You have 2 pawns for the piece. That's not such a big price to pay. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's the biggest risk you're ever going to take, but it is a risk because it is a sacrifice of a piece. So you want to do this only if you have all the puzzle pieces in place, sort of.
For sure. No, it makes a lot of sense.
But that's sort of the lay of the land in terms of this type of position.